Donald Trump took center stage today in a G7 photo shoot, joining other world leaders on stage to round off 2 days of talks. It comes as he was reported to have rebuffed all 6 other members' attempts to join them in supporting the Paris Climate Agreement. Today he announced via Twitter that he'd make a final decision on whether the U.S. will stay in the Paris Climate Agreement next week. Earlier, the other 6 members of the G7, a group of some of the world's wealthiest nations, voted to abide by the Paris Climate Agreement. Trump was cajoled for 3 days, first in Brussels at meetings of NATO and the European Union, then in Sicily for G7, but he has yet to make a decision. Under the deal, the Trump administration will be given more time to consider whether it will remain committed to the 2015 Paris deal to rein in greenhouse gas emissions. The entire discussion about climate was very difficult, if not to say very dissatisfying, German Chancellor Angela Merkel told reporters. There are no indications whether the United States will stay in the Paris Agreement or not. However, there was relief that Trump agreed to language in the final G7 communiqué that pledged to fight protectionism and commits to a rules-based international trade system. During his election campaign last year, Trump threatened unilateral tariffs on Mexican and Chinese goods and said he would quit the North American Free Trade Agreement unless it is renegotiated to his liking. Earlier this week he called Germany very bad on trade because of its surplus with the United States. In the end we convinced them to include the fight against protectionism in the final communiqué, so that was a step forward, said one European diplomat, who declined to be named. Other G7 nations leaned heavily on Trump to stay in the climate deal, with German Chancellor Angela Merkel saying we put forward very many arguments. His views are evolving. He came here to learn and get smarter, Gary Cohn, National Economic Council Director, said Friday of the president's thinking.